CBS News political director and moderator of Face the Nation, John Dickerson, is with us on set. John, good to see you.
Good to be back.
So, CBS News poll shows that Bernie Sanders is leading in Illinois by a small margin, but trailing in Florida and Illinois. If he captures a few states today, how does that position him going forward?
Well, he has to, it's the question with him is momentum versus delegates. So if he wins in the Midwest, that's a good momentum builder for him because he's winning in the kinds of states that'll matter in the general election. He's able to say, I'm picking up different kinds of constituencies. But at the end of the day, in 7 of the last 8 elections, Hillary Clinton has ended the day with more delegates. He has to start fixing that. So that's the thing to watch for him tonight.
And that was a question I wanted to ask you. Do you think there's a likelihood that we could see what happened during the last Super Tuesday where they split the states, but she still comes out on top in terms of delegates?
Yeah, that's quite possible. And in that case, you have this kind of unresolved situation where she keeps getting weakened, which is to say not winning big and loud and strong, but on the other hand keeps continuing because it's just at the end of the day, if you're a candidate, you want to say I won everywhere, not just I won delegates. It feels less powerful. And part of what you need to create momentum to win future contests and to kind of put it away for her is the kind of big wins. The kind of thing that happened with her when she won in South Carolina. After winning Nevada, there was a sense that, okay, it's over. She needs another one of those nights, or this just kind of dribbles on until June. And even though he may not win, the more that the competition takes place, the more chances there are for something to go wrong or for it to weaken her.
John, let's turn to the Republicans. Donald Trump is leading in most of the states voting today. If he sweeps, is the math in his favor for him to lock up the GOP nomination? And will the establishment fall behind him and support him going forward?
The math is in his favor. It's not a total lock, but it means basically he would have to continue at the pace he's going at right now to win. And that would be possible because if he's able to win tonight, it would mean he's been able to withstand a lot of attacks. And so it would mean it's very likely that he'd be able to just kind of continue on that trajectory. The future states in Pennsylvania and New York have a lot of non-college educated voters, the voters he does well with, not a huge number of evangelical voters, the voters where he has a closer competition with Ted Cruz. So if he won in both Ohio and Florida, that would mean probably that he's on his way to the winner's circle. Of course, there will be efforts to try and continue to stop him, but it'll be real hard to do.
Well, right now, in terms of the polls, it certainly looks like Ted Cruz is not going to win either Florida or Ohio, right? So then he's trailing in delegates by about 100, which doesn't seem like a lot, but that's right now before the votes are counted. Does he have a path to the nomination?
Cruz, does he have a path? His path to the nomination is much more bumpy. Yeah. So what happens is for the Cruz path is that Trump loses in Ohio and Florida. Cruz wins in neither place, but it denies Trump the delegates he needs to get to the magic number. So having been denied that, then it's a question of who will his competition be. Cruz would hope to do well in Illinois, in Missouri, in North Carolina to build up his delegate lead so that he'll still be the closest person to Trump, continue the rest of the competitions, get to the convention with a deficit to Trump, but with Trump not having the majority of delegates, and then fight it out there.
All right, let's talk John Kasich. He has yet to win a single state. If he does happen to edge Trump out in Ohio, which right now it's looking like that, it's not going to be a blowout, it's going to be tight, but if he does well in Ohio, if he wins that, is it enough to justify going forward? What's his strategy?
Well, his strategy would have to be, he's being vague about it at the moment, but his strategy really would have to be to just kind of be there in the conversation if there's a contested convention. And what he has to decide is whether he can continue in some states where, he would do well potentially in Pennsylvania. Close to Ohio, he has that connection to blue-collar voters himself. So it's a question now of what happens in terms of denying Trump those delegates. Can a tag team match between Kasich and Cruz deny him more delegates than a simple one-on-one? And that'll be something that sort of Republicans will come to some view about, and then they'll decide whether Kasich, who has much fewer delegates than Cruz, should drop out for the good of the overall project. And then he'll have to see whether he listens to those people. He's a man who follows his own mind.
I guess I got to ask you about Marco Rubio. Is there any possibility for him in Florida, do you think? Some sort of magical movement of numbers, maybe early voters or Marco Rubio fans, I don't know. And if he doesn't win, is it time to pack it in?
Well, I guess the beauty of elections is we don't know until the voters actually speak their minds. So that's great. We don't know. The polls haven't looked good. I believe Trump has been ahead of him consistently for the last several months. So there could still be a surprise. But if there's not, it means that the candidate who most embodied what the Republican establishment thought the party needed to do, which is to be younger and to be attracting non-white voters, will have been crushed in his home state and will have emerged from the process not better, will have been diminished by the process. And for a lot of people, that's a symbolic way in which this been a process that's been hurtful for the Republican Party.
Yeah.
Interesting. We'll be watching tonight. John Dickerson, thank you very much.
Sure thing.